Good morning. I love that music. I can't believe I created it. Anyway, so today is Monday, the 9th day of August. This is the 46th episode of the Be Your Own Hero show. Mind blowing. Hero is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. There it is on my shirt. And that means helping others helps you. It helps you feel good about yourself. In the context of this show, this is my journey of doing the work to become my own hero, to become my own hero. Hopefully, something about my journey and my transformation will inspire you to become your own hero. So that's the concept. And shout out to New Thought Media Network for giving me the space and the opportunity to showcase my journey of becoming my own hero. There's the website, ntmedia.org. Feel free to donate so that they can create more positive programming like this show, the Be Your Own Hero show. So I think that's all my introductory stuff. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern to watch the Be Your Own Hero show. It also automatically reposts to my Facebook page and to my YouTube page and to the New Thought Media channels on both Facebook and YouTube. So if you miss it live, you can still check out the replay. And also, I invite you to catch me live so I can interact with you in real time. So there we go. 46th episode of the show. I don't have a setup yet. As you know, if you've been watching the show, I'm in New York right now. I don't have a setup. So on Friday, I was outdoors, but there was a lot of noise, a lot of ambient noise and people walking around. Today, I'm in my apartment, but I haven't figured out the setup yet. This, by the way, what you see behind me is the Brooklyn Bridge. That's the Brooklyn Bridge. I didn't take this photo, but I love it. It's either from the Brooklyn side to Manhattan, the Manhattan side of Brooklyn. I can't quite tell, but I love that photo. So that's the Brooklyn Bridge behind me. So there we go. All right, so let's jump into it. Today is Monday. That means it is Motivation Monday. And my question of the day is, can you break your cycles? Can you break your cycles? Big one, right? Big one. All right, so here we go. I'm going to tell you a recent story of mine. Today is day 70 of my charity run. 70 days of continuous consecutive days of running at least a mile a day every day since the first day of June. Again, mind blown. But let me tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy. I may make it look easy, but it ain't easy. So on day 68, I quit. I fully quit, not partially quit. I fully quit. Day 68, I was here in New York over the weekend, and I was like, you know what? 68 is a nice round number. I feel good about it. I wanted to get to 70, but 68 is a good number. I can tap out at 68. My body hurts. I got shin splints. Ankles hurt. Everything's sore. It's harder to run in Manhattan than it is in Nashville or in Traverse City because there's cars and traffic no matter what time I go out. I'm just going to call it a day at 68. I had this whole conversation with myself and I agreed. Now, sidebar, you ever been in your car and you know where you're going, but as you start to go where you're going, you tune out, you start thinking about something, maybe some challenge you're having or maybe something you're really excited about, but you disengage from your physical activity of driving and think about something else. And then you just end up in your driveway and you don't really remember how you got there. I'm sure you've had that experience. So this is what was happening to me in real time. I am having the conversation that I just explained to you. Like, yep, 68, good enough. We out. I started planning my post, like what I was going to say about 68 and what's the significance of the number 68. I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out so that I can make it sound good for me tapping out at day 68. That's the conversation I'm having, right? So I went away. I disengaged from what I was doing physically to go into that and try to plan this post. And when I came back to awareness of my body, I was fully dressed to go running. Fully dressed to go running. I was like, well, I guess we're going. I guess we're going. And this is very important because what that says is that I have finally got it dialed into my subconscious. It may have taken me 68 days, but I finally have it dialed into my subconscious now, so much so that my subconscious doesn't even care anymore what I think. My little chitter chat up there, my subconscious is like, no, no, this is just what we do. I finally got it in here because, as we all know or should know, our subconscious mind runs the show. It completely runs the show. Studies have shown that during our waking day, we are only awake and aware and in control 5% of the time. 5% of the time. That means 95% of the time we are being run by our subconscious mind, which means habituated behaviors that we've learned over time, mostly in the formative years, but over time, we've built these habits that the subconscious mind just keeps perpetuating. So most of the time, we're not really in control. And I'm going to hit you with another statistic. Studies have shown that the average person has between 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. That's a lot. Let's just call it 75. Let's just call it 75,000 thoughts a day. It's a lot of thoughts. Of those thoughts, 90% of them are not only negative, but they're the same negative thoughts you had yesterday and the day before and the day before that and the day before that. It's just a habit, a never-ending churn of negative thoughts. 90% of your thoughts every day. So what you doing with that 10%? You got to worry about what you're doing with that 10%. And you also have to be aware of how that 90% is controlling you. So bringing this full circle, my chatter over the last 70 days now has been significant. My goal has been to push past the chatter every day as an act of will, to push past the excuses. Do my feet hurt? Yes, they do. So what? Do my legs hurt? Yes, they do. So what? Is it too early? Yes, it is. So what? Is it raining? Yes, it is. So what? My practice, my habit has been pushing into the so what, pushing past the excuses. And finally, I've gotten it down into my subconscious now, where my subconscious is just going to get me going and get me moving. And I've heard other people talk about it, and I didn't really get it until I experienced it myself. There's a thought leader, motivational speaker named Eric Thomas, who talks about all he has to do is get his shoes on and then he'll work out. And I was like, what's he talking about? But now I get it. Like, if you do it enough to get it really drilled down, then once your subconscious has it, it will run the show. All right, so that's very important. Now that I've said all that, I want to double down on it by talking about this book. I'm co-reading this book with a friend of mine. It's called How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LaPera. And it is hardcore. It's hardcore. Dr. LaPera is a psychologist, and she spent most of her days working in the field of psychology and counseling her clients. And she got frustrated because her clients kept having the same issues. Even when they would have breakthroughs, they would come back exhibiting the same behavior. And she realized that there was something missing. And so she went on this search and she found all this additional information. I'm going to read you a quote from the book. Let me keep this up on screen for a second. Now, this is real stuff. Here we go. The overwhelming pull of the subconscious mind makes it hard for us to change. Now, I just want a sidebar to remind you, 5% of the time we're in control, but 95% of the mind, the subconscious mind, is in control. And we have 66,000 negative thoughts a day, give or take, that are the same negative thoughts that we had the day before. So again, all that is coming from the subconscious. All right, back to the quote. The overwhelming pull of the subconscious mind makes it hard for us to change. We are not evolutionarily wired for change. When we do try to push ourselves out of autopilot, we face resistance from our mind and our body. This response has a name: the homeostatic impulse. The subconscious mind loves existing in a comfort zone. The safest place, it turns out, is one you've been before, because you can predict the familiar outcome. Strong stuff. Strong stuff. I highly recommend you check out the book. It will frustrate you, but it will grow you. And I come from a psychological background. My mom is a psychologist. She was a psychologist before I was born. So throughout my life, I've been in and out of therapy from, with her friends. And, I've sought out therapy as an adult. Like I'd never had that thing where I was afraid of therapy because it was just part of my upbringing. And this perspective, Dr. LaPera's perspective, is very helpful to me because it includes psychology, but it expands the conversation. It goes beyond that. And the homeostatic impulse is something I'm just learning about now. And I want to ground it for you by comparing it to the automotive industry. So when I test drive high-end cars, the high-end cars have adaptive cruise control, and they also have lane departure assist. The names vary depending upon the car brand, but essentially it is adaptive cruise control and lane departure assist. If you use those two features in tandem together, the car basically becomes self-driving, not fully autonomous, but generally self-driving. So what does that mean? The adaptive cruise control sends out a radar signal to the vehicle in front of you, let's say on the highway. It sends out a radar signal to the vehicle in front of you and bounces back, and it maintains a certain distance from the vehicle in front of you. And in certain cars, it will take itself all the way down to zero. In other words, if the car in front of you brakes all the way down to a full stop, your car will automatically brake all the way down to a full stop without you touching anything. And then when the car in front of you starts moving again, this car will still be registering the radar signal and will increase in speed all the way up until the speed that you have set on the cruise control. That's adaptive cruise control. It's very powerful. The lane departure assist reads the paint on either side of you, the paint divider lines, that are painted on either side of you on the highway. And it measures the distance and it keeps you between those two lines right in the middle of your lane. And if you start to stray in certain vehicles, it will push you back. It will actually turn the wheel back to keep you in the middle of the lane. So those of you that have been watching the show know I just came back from a test drive of the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder in Traverse City, Michigan. And this vehicle had this suite of features. So I was using it liberally. So it's fresh in my mind how it will keep you in your lane and it will keep you a certain distance from the car ahead of you. This greatly reduces your driver strain. I got an amen from the traffic. This greatly reduces your driver's strain. So by the time you get to a far destination, you're not as tired. Why aren't you tired? Because the car has been doing a lot of the work. Here's the parallel though. That is essentially autopilot. It is essentially keeping you in your lane in this comfort zone. It's keeping you comfortable. And that's great for on the road. But in terms of the homeostatic impulse, it's not so great because it's keeping you confined. In the Matrix, Morpheus says to Neo that we are born into a prison that we can't see or taste or touch or feel, a prison for our mind. And this is very similar to that. That homeostatic impulse is that urge by the subconscious to keep you in this safe space, to keep you between the lines. And in real life, in terms of the automotive world, it's very difficult to get out of the lane. Like you have to turn your turn signal on in order to get out of the lane. Otherwise, it's going to keep you in the lane, right? It's going to assume that that's a mistake. You trying to get out, it's going to assume that's a mistake unless you turn on the turn signal. Then it knows you're trying to get out and then it'll let you out. So that is a real world example of what it feels like. Like you can't see this prison, this homeostatic impulse, right? But it is constantly keeping you confined, and you have to reprogram it. You can't break it. You've got to reprogram it. So in my case, I have been running, as you know, consistently every single day for 70 days, and it has taken about 68 days, according to my calendar, 68 days for it to be drilled into my subconscious, to give my subconscious a different message, to push past the subconscious message of we're going to stay in the bed and be comfortable to we're going to do this hard thing, even though it's hard, even though it hurts, because that's our new reality. That's our new programming. So I hope that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense for me, but I've been in the automotive industry for a long time. And I'm all of a sudden seeing these parallels between the automotive industry, these features, and the divine, the universe, the way the world works around us. So I hope that makes sense. So anyway, I'm just going to go back to the question of the day. Can you break your cycles? Yes, you can, but it requires active, consistent, hard work. It requires effort. It won't happen passively. You can't sit and think about it because, again, your subconscious is running the show. So you've got to reprogram your subconscious if you want to break your cycles. And I think that's what most of us miss. At least I did. I've always been trying to alter my cognitive thinking, not realizing that that's only 10% of the puzzle. You've got to alter the subconscious way of being, which is 90% of the puzzle. All right. Hope that makes sense. I'm going to keep talking about these car features. Now that I started, I can't stop. So I'm going to keep drawing these parallels between the automotive industry and these car features and the world around us. Okay. So I think that's it for oh, you know what? Just one more thing. I don't often quote the Bible, but a friend of mine gave me this quote and I felt it like, oh, the friend of mine who I am reading this book with, How to Do the Work. And he sent me this quote, Romans 12:2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So to me, in this context, that means reprogramming the subconscious, renewing the way you interact with the subconscious. All right. All right. I'm running over time, but I'm a little hype about this. The homeostatic impulse really dovetails nicely with the reticular activating system, which you know I call the filter seeker. So we've got to be very consistent and vigilant about what we program our mind with. All right, so I'm going to take a brief commercial break. I'm going to come back and do the hero news right after this. Okay, I'm back. I am in the comments. Shout out to Gladys. Shout out to Margareta. Shout out to Jenna Lee Black. Shout out to Tim. Thanks for coming back, Tim. I know you tired, Tim, because Tim was with us for the meditation with the moon, which was at 4 a.m. I'm stumbling over the time because I'm usually in Nashville. So it's usually 3 a.m. Nashville for me, but now I'm on East Coast time, so 4 a.m. New York time. And I was thinking, oh, I got an extra hour. This is great. But my mind, once again, I have programmed my mind over the many months that I've been in Nashville to know that meditation with the moon is at 3 a.m. So at 3 a.m. without any alarm, I just popped up. 2:45 actually popped up awake. And I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do now? So anyway, shout out to Reverend Melissa. Shout out to all the people who showed up for Meditation with the Moon. It was amazing. We had a good conversation, quote unquote, after party on Zoom afterwards. If you guys haven't made it yet, make it. Make it, because you'll get something out of it for sure, for sure. So check it out. Anyway, shout out to you, Tim, for making it back to my show, because I know you tired. I took a little nap too, and I did my jog. So I'm here, and you here too, so I appreciate it. All right, so I'm reading the quotes. I'm motivating people. Great, glad to hear it. Hey, Regina, thanks for popping in. Yeah, day 70. Day 70. Yep, I'm amazed. I've been running at least a mile a day every single day for 70 days. And that's amazing. I hope that was in reference to the parallel I made between the homeostatic impulse and autopilot in cars, because that really hit me hard. I'm going to be talking about that for a minute, I'm sure. Okay, so shout out to everybody in the chat. Reverend Al, I see you just popped in. Appreciate it. So in terms of the hero news, I have found, because of my trip to Traverse City with Nissan, that I need to talk more consistently about what this is. Because I kind of have that sense that everybody watching the show knows what it is, but that's not true. So the hero ministry began as an effort for me to provide brand new hoodies to the unhoused in Nashville. Has expanded beyond that exponentially. And so now we are providing obviously t-shirts, as you see I'm wearing one right now, t-shirts, neck scarves, socks, hoodies. There's a whole wide assortment of hero items. The idea is not only to provide the unhoused with brand new clothing, which is a big deal because the unhoused don't often get brand new clothing, but also a wearable affirmation that says hero. Or in the case of Reverend Melissa's socks, they say joy, something that uplifts them and inspires other people who are seeing it on their chest to uplift them as well. Because as I've said a number of times, sometimes people call me hero just because I'm wearing the shirt, just because I'm wearing the hoodie. And I am prayerful that that is happening for the unhoused, that as they move around their world with these things on, that people are commenting, hey, hero, good to see you, hero, and uplifting their spirits in that way and giving them encouragement. So that's what it is. Feel free to shop the Hero store. It is just the website giveherohoodies.com. Hero Hoodies, not Hero Ministry, because that's how it began. It began as specifically hoodies, and now it has expanded and gotten much bigger. So I'm grateful to everyone that has been a part of this Hero Ministry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm grateful that the universe has decided that my birthday run would become a charity run. And now we're 70 days in. There's been over $1,000 pledged to these various nonprofits. I'm going to start sending those monies out. And there is a benefactor who will remain anonymous for the time being, who wants to round up. So I said that we were at about $130 per nonprofit last time I talked about this. And this benefactor wants to round up to like 140 or 150. So there's a couple things going on behind the scenes, but the payments are going out this week. I want to get that going. So I'll be talking about that as we move forward. So I think, is that everything? I think that's everything. I'm way over time, but I know Rev Melissa is not coming on at 10:30. Oh, I should mention that. Rev Melissa is not coming on at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, because she did Meditation with the Moon at 4 a.m. this morning. So that was the sip for today. There is no sip today. She'll be back tomorrow at her regular time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Central, for Sip with Rev Melissa, where I will be producing and maybe popping on to say a word or two. So until then, oh, and then I will be on again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. So come back and see me. I'm still going to be talking about car stuff. I think I'm going to be stuck on this homeostatic impulse for a minute. Like, that phrase and that idea really took my friend and I out, and we're still grappling with it. So that is your internal autopilot that you have to figure out a way to circumnavigate. It's imperative. If you want to change your life, you have to figure out how to circumnavigate your autopilot, which is called the homeostatic impulse. So if you're interested in more information about that, I invite you to check out the book. It's tough to read, but it's important. So How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LaPera. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to remind you to keep doing. Keep doing. Don't think, don't try, do. Keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own hero. That's the most important thing. And remember that now, right now, is better than perfect. And I will see you tomorrow. Later.